Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome to a very, very special episode of Cricket Mehfil. Today we are joined by the one, the only, Mr. Dennis Freedman, Dennis Cricket, Dennis Kohli, Dennis Fawad Alam, the man with many names, the man with many, many fans. This is an absolute coup for us here at Grassroots Cricket. Dennis, thank you so much for taking the time out for us today.
Oh, you're welcome. I don't know that it's a coup, but we'll go with that. A coup is what's going on in Myanmar.
So there you go. So, okay, we won't call it a coup. We'll just call it a very big achievement. How are you doing, Dennis? All well?
I'm having fun. I like the green shirt. It's the only way to do it.
Yep, absolutely. Oh, yours is fantastic. Oh, brilliant.
No. The tee's fantastic. My T-shirt's just good. But look at the back. Can you see that?
There you go. Yep, we can. Oh, there you go. Killing it, Dennis.
I bought this in a market in Lahore.
So there you go. And we're in Lahore right now. So guys, look at Dennis's T-shirt. Go out to Lahore, buy this, and then send Dennis pictures of yourself wearing this shirt. That's your challenge for this PSL. So Dennis, what's your earliest memory related to cricket? Like, since when have you been, watching it or playing it? And what initially drew you to the sport? A lot of people in Pakistan tend to think that cricket isn't as big in Australia as some other sports. Is that true, or is cricket equally big?
No, it's true. It's not. Cricket is it's probably the national game, but it's only in the summer. So it's big for 3 or 4 months, and then the football codes dominate. And when I say it's big, it's there, but not like PSL. It's not like everybody's watching. It's just like background noise, and you talk about it a little bit with your friends, but no one's passionate about it because we're passionate about our football clubs. We're not passionate about our cricket team, really. There's some people that are. There's fanatics everywhere, but if you think of how Pakistanis are with cricket, like Australians are with football, that's where it's the same. So, no, cricket's not the biggest. It's probably the biggest played sport, but it's not the most passionately followed sport.
But what's your earliest memory?
I don't know. Probably playing. I mean, when I grew up as a child, I'm 45. I'm old now, but in Australia as a kid, you played a football code in the winter, so Australian rules football or rugby, depending on which state you lived in. And in the summer, you played cricket. So as a child, I just remember playing cricket all the time. We played in the backyard with our friends. I have a little brother. I remember hitting him for 6 all the time or bowling bounces at his head, that kind of thing. Probably like most, it's probably very similar to a Pakistani youths, except you guys play in the street. But we played with a tennis ball and a cricket bat, and we just made up rules. And if you hit mum's car on the full, you were out. And if you tried to hit the dog as hard as you could, all those types of things.
Yeah, that's one way to learn it. Dennis, you've made no secret about your love for the PSL. It's very well known, and you're such a great ambassador for PSL. For you, this year, which team starts as the favorites? Seeing what you've seen in the last year, seeing the draft, and of course, because the entire situation because of COVID, how things are different. Who for you start as the favorites?
Yeah, it pains me to say it, but I think Karachi will go back to back. And I hate Karachi. I hate everything that Karachi stands for. Not the city, the franchise. Of all the owners, I think Salman Iqbal is the least one invested in growing Pakistani cricket. It's got Amir and Sharjeel, who last year held up the trophy as fixers, which just made me throw up. It now hired Herschel Gibbs as its coach, who's a convicted fixer. It's got Wasim Akram running around. And if you haven't read the Khayyam report, go read that. I don't know why he's got anything to do with cricket in Pakistan at all. And I hate that so much because in there is also Baba Azam, national legend. You've got Muhammad Nabi, who almost single-handedly with Rashid Khan got Pakistan from 4th Division associate cricket to Test cricket status. You've got Dan Christian, who's having the time of his life at 36 years of age. So, but I don't know. I watched the replay of them last night, and they were very strong. Although Lahore, right now, I'm watching the Qalandars, and Lahore's traditionally a pretty crappy team. I think they have the worst win-loss record of any T20 franchise in the history of T20 franchises anywhere in the world. but they're all over Peshawar at the moment. Peshawar's not going well. So I think Karachi, Lahore, maybe Multan. My heart's with Quetta. So I don't think Islamabad can win, and the Zelmi definitely cannot win.
So great. Yeah, I think a lot of people would agree with you that Karachi and Lahore probably had the best draft. They look the most solid. One thing we've seen, a lot of people in Pakistan now watch the Big Bash. We've noticed a lot of innovations coming in with the BBL, you know, the X Factor, the power surge. Do you like these? Personally, as a purist, I don't, but I don't think my opinion is that relevant. I think it's different from place to place. But do you think these can be adapted, or do you think there's even a need for them?
I don't think you can say you're a purist around T20 innovation. It's probably not what purists are. I don't know. I think the Big Bash has gone in 2 years from the best T20 tournament in the world to one of the worst because of this kind of rubbish. No, I'm not a fan of it. I don't see how it helps attract more people to the game. It just makes it more complex. The purpose of the Big Bash was to attract kids and women and girls to play cricket. That was the stated purpose by Cricket Australia. That's why it's owned by the board and not private franchises, and that's why it's not run for money. Well, it used to be like that. Now it's swung and it's become about money and other things, and then you have these stupid innovations which don't help any mum and daughter try and understand how cricket works. It just makes it harder. So no, I'm not a fan of it at all. I don't like power plays. I don't like. Just play the game. There's a ball, there's a bat, you hit it, done. Everything else is just gimmicks.
Yeah, the more simpler you keep it, the more it'll attract. Like it attracted all of us when we started playing, was because it was simple. At that time, we weren't thinking third umpires or how LBW needs to be pitching out. So you start doing that to kids, you're going to start confusing them. Dennis, what's your take on Test cricket? 4-day Test matches, yay or nay?
Nay, unless every Test match plays from Thursday to Sunday. So if around the world you had Test cricket Thursday through Sunday, you'll have crowds because most people working Monday to Friday, Monday to Saturday. And I think the other thing you need to do, they're talking about 96 overs in a day. You need to enforce that. If you're not hitting 96 overs in a day, there needs to be like 10 penalty runs per over, and the captain needs to get banned, and you need to just smash the shit out of it like that. The problem with 4-day Test match, so all that works. The problem with why it shouldn't happen though is that if you lose 1 day to rain, you lose 25% of your time. On a 5-day match, you lose 1 day to rain, you lose 20%, so you've got a chance to make it up. It's very hard to make it up on a 96 over day unless you're playing under lights indoors in Dubai.
Yeah, it's true. Also, it probably changes, the way you have to approach the game, because then there's more onus on maybe, declarations or speeding up, or some people might see it as a way that you win one game and then you become defensive. So yeah, 5-day cricket probably does give you enough time. I know you're famous for not liking Indians, according to a lot of Indian people. But one guy you also don't like a lot, at least people seem to think, is Jimmy Anderson. You say you prefer Broad over him. Now, Anderson's got 600 Test wickets. That's what all his fans will always say. And what is the reason? I mean, are you impressed with his recent performances, or do you think that your point that he only does well in home conditions as opposed to someone like Broad, is that the reason you reckon Broad's better than him?
I don't dislike Jimmy Anderson. I always used to say he's overrated. That doesn't mean I hate him. I can be critical of it. I can be critical of how a person is perceived. Doesn't mean I hate them. It's the same with him. Same with Indian players. Sometimes I'm critical of Kohli. It doesn't mean I hate him.
Yeah.
I would take Broad over Anderson every day of the week, and the reason is this: no one has taken more fifers in a session in the history of Test cricket than Stuart Broad. And so, if you want to win a Test match, and you want someone to change the game, Stuart Broad every day of the week. James Anderson's the best bowler with the third new ball I've ever seen. When you get into the 181st over, James Anderson's awesome, right? But by then the match is over. So his recent form is better than his early form, granted, but Stuart Broad turns matches consistently. So you don't take. Think about it. More fifers in a session in 2 hours of cricket than then Dennis Lilly, Imran Khan, Ian Botham, Malcolm Marshall, Curtly Ambrose, Dale Steyn, you name it. Anybody you can think of, Stuart Broad has more. And I'd rather in Test cricket have that, which is going to win me a match, than some guy continually taking 3 for 80 and looking pretty.
Yeah, so he's a match winner as far as you're concerned. He's got the ability to change the game.
He does.
One interesting thing a lot of people, in recent times want to know is what brought you towards Pakistan cricket? Because from the outside looking in, sometimes we hear from people, sometimes we see the comments. Again, they're not representative of everyone, but a lot of people have issues with Pakistan cricket. They're like, man, when I think of Pakistan cricket, some will say, I think of cheats. You get that a lot in England. You'll hear about fixing, as you rightly pointed out. Then some people just are like, I don't like the fact that there's nepotism. They don't understand, excuse me, they don't understand why Fawad had to spend so much time out of the team when he was that good then, and he's equally good now. A lot of us are sitting here scratching our heads about the fact that one of the best batsmen we have had, and a player who's playing under pressure, had to miss so much of his career. So a lot of these things people don't. What brought you towards Pakistan cricket? What made you, from the outside looking in, as an Australian, as a non-Pakistani, take some, because you came to the country at a very difficult time. It's all well and good coming now for the PSL. You came at the time when most people's Pakistani relatives living overseas didn't want to come to Pakistan. You came here and you embraced the culture. You embraced the PSL. You embraced Pakistan, good and bad, I'd like to add. You've never hidden its flaws. You're not one to whitewash over things. So what brought you towards Pakistan and Pakistan cricket?
A little bit of circumstance, fluke, luck, and ultimately Pakistan is just crazy, and I'm drawn to crazy shit. So the more it started with the fact that no one was playing there, and Misbah and Yunus were making runs. What really got me was the 2-2 draw in England, where Misbah did push-ups and Yunus made his double 100 in the fourth test or fifth test
match. Fourth test, yeah.
Yeah, and he was jumping around like a tyke, like he was just batting crazy. He was like facing balls, doing pirouettes in the air and all kinds of stuff. And I just thought that was the part of me, because on the back of that, then India drew a test match in the West Indies, and that forced, because it was washed out with rain, and then Pakistan became #1 in the world. And I just thought, this is the greatest sporting story in the history of sport in the world. These guys haven't played at home for 10 years. 10 years. They haven't slept in their own beds. They haven't played in front of crowds. They've played in the middle of a desert, in front of nobody. They're full of cronyism, nepotism. They don't have the funds and the money, and still somehow they got to #1 in the world in the second biggest sport in the world behind soccer. And in that context, you just go, I need to know more. And I'm a curious beast. And I mean, this is on the back of growing up with guys like Shahid Afridi, just being a generation ahead of his time. And, Pakistanis used to come to Australia when I was a kid, and I didn't know any of the names, but you just used to watch the games because they were Abdul Qadir doing crazy things, and Waqar and Shoaib and these guys just doing random stuff and things we'd never saw before. So that started it. Then you won the Champions Trophy, and I made a silly tweet that said, if Pakistan win the Champions Trophy, I'm going to come to Pakistan. And I tweeted that halfway through the semi-final when they were playing England, because you've got to remember, you guys qualified 8th, and you shouldn't have been there at all, because there was a tour that Pakistan cancelled that they went to go to Zimbabwe, I think, or Sri Lanka, and they cancelled it just in case they lost. Just in case they lost. Yeah.
And wouldn't have made it.
Which is such a Pakistani thing to do. And I was drunk in a pub with a friend in Sydney, and I said, if they win, I'm going to go. And then you beat England, and then you beat India, and then I was stuffed. I had to go. This was 2017. So I got there in October 2017, and you won the Champions Trophy just a few months earlier in July. And then it took off its own journey. I think you touched on something. I did go there when it probably wasn't perceived as the place to be touring. The perception in Australia still, it's unsafe, it's a terrorist country, it's full of scary Muslims, it's corrupt, it's whatever, right? And, so to go there now is still telling people you're going to Pakistan is still like, okay, you fucking crazy. back then it was worse, but I went there. I had the time of my life. The more I understood Pakistan, the more I loved it, because it's, you know, I was trying to explain. It's such a juxtaposition. It has. I go to Lahore, right? I go to Lahore. It has every modern facility that Melbourne has, every brand store. It has faster internet. It's clean. The roads are well maintained. It's a first world city in under any way you look at it. Yet I scratched the surface a bit, and there's all the good things of being in a third world country. I can sit in the streets till 3 a.m. eating and drinking tea with strangers. I can go to villages and ride an oxen and plough some fields. You know, I have to dodge mayorans as I'm driving my Land Cruiser. You know, and there's a culture here that goes back thousands and thousands of years, and it's complex, and it's in a part of the world that's got China building freeways through the middle of it to Gwadar. It's got Afghanistan on one side. It's got India on the other side, having Indan over to bomb pine forests. Like it's nuts. It's got Iran. Like it's such a crazy part of the world. And then you go north and you're in the Himalayas, and you go south, you're swimming at the beach, and in the middle's a desert, and it's just all of it. I love it. And I think I went at a special time. It's going to change, I think, but I went at a special time when there wasn't many Goras going, and I took full advantage of the fact that I call it the Gora card. You get some special privileges because of the color of your skin and where you come from.
You're the only one to point that out.
It's real. It's 100% real, and I wouldn't say I abused it in any way, but I took advantage of some of the privileges that came with that, insofar as I got to meet people that I normally wouldn't get to meet. I got to meet Imran Khan at Barney Gala, and Imran Khan poured tea for me.
So there you go. There you go.
You know, and so I took advantage of those types of things and got to do some things. And then on the back of that, then you make a documentary, and then you go to PSL 3, and then on the back of that, you get, you know, Ali Tareen rings me up and says, with Nadeem Omar, who's the owner of Quetta and the owner of Multan, and, you know, Dennis, what do you need to come to PSL 5? You said you would love to come. What do you need? These guys are like multi-millionaires, leaders of industry, connected politically, ringing some dickhead in Melbourne going, come on, man, come and play with us. And I'm like, okay, just fly me there and you know, feed me and make sure I've got a pass to go onto the ground. I said, I remember this clearly. I said, if my press pass doesn't allow me to go onto the ground, I can't do the footage and some of the things I want to do. And they organised that for me. And, you know, I remember last year I was kicking a soccer ball on the ground at Multan with Viv Richards before a match. It's like, Pakistan is just a crazy place, and for whatever reason, I found my little niche of it, and I don't want to let it go. But I've got to be very careful not to take advantage of it in the wrong ways, and that's the balance.
I don't think you're the kind of person who would. You've used your position, Dennis. You've used your, I want to say, celebrity and your appeal to work on very important things. You seem determined to improve the scope of women's cricket in Pakistan. We've not seen a lot of people come. Yeah, it's nice. They say words, they leave. But we saw that with you. Obviously, we know you mentioned Ali. Ali is very invested in improving women's cricket at grassroots level, and you know, you're very clearly invested in it too. You want to do more. You did a fundraising game. I believe it was played in Karachi.
It was at Gymkhana.
Yeah. So you seem very invested in doing that. What drives this? Do you think that it's because of, obviously, Pakistan, let's be honest, is not the place where women always have the very best of opportunities, or is it just a cricketing thing that you feel we have the talent but we haven't utilized? Because our women's team is also an amazing story in itself.
No, it's got nothing. It's got nothing to do with the cricket.
Okay,
it's got everything to do with creating opportunity to change lives. Cricket is just the conduit that allows. Yeah. It's the vehicle. 2017, I met face-to-face an amazing woman by the name of Hadil Obaid, who runs Kello Cricket in Karachi. And Kello Cricket scraps and scrapes to raise enough funds to run girls' tournaments in Karachi. And when I met her in 2017, it was still uncool for girls to be playing cricket. Their parents would go, no. I didn't know Ali at this stage at all in 2017. And we played a match in 2017 and we raised, I don't know, a couple of 100,000 rupees or something just to start. And that money was used to play a tournament for girls. When I came back this time in early 2020, I said to the team, to the cricketers I played with last time, organise another game. I have a bigger profile now. Now I want to raise some money again. I want to put kits in girls' schools. And Ali clicked with this, and he said, you know, he has a daughter as well. He has
two now.
He has two. And I got to learn about how he funds and helps in South Punjab, the girls' schools. I went with him to one in Lodran, and we delivered some cricket gear to them, and we played cricket with them. And you hear the stories that they tell you. They said, 2 years ago, we never played sport. Now we play cricket, and 2 years ago, our parents would say, girls can't play. It's not, it's haram or something. They'd make up some excuse. It's in the culture of the villages, right? They said now the village, the parents all come and watch, and they laugh amongst themselves over which daughter is the best. And it's not about the cricket. The cricket's now created a change in the villages for parents to back their daughters to have maybe a different life than just working in the village. And not that that's a bad thing, but more opportunity is better. The girls have more confidence to go off and do things. I spoke to some of the girls. I want to be a school teacher. I want to go to university. I want to go into Multan and study something. I want to be an accountant. Then they're saying, like, 5 years ago, that wasn't an option. Not because they couldn't do it, but society wouldn't even open that door to allow them to think about it. And so if we can use cricket as the means to allow the girls in Pakistan to think differently and the men around them to help think differently, which is probably even more important. The girls already understand. The girls understand what opportunities are there. They just don't push. The men have to create the opportunities for them by getting out of the way. And that's going to take a long time. But if cricket can help do some of that, I'm all for it. Because I live in a country where my daughter, she's just turned 11. She can do whatever she wants. So why should it be any different in Pakistan because of some mullah interpreting the Quran in a way that suits him? There's nothing in the Quran that says girls can't do shit. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah, exactly. No, absolutely. And finally, Dennis, before we let you go, we have to ask you, because as someone from the outside looking in, and like I said this before, you don't whitewash the flaws. You just don't look at it with rose-tinted glasses. What do you feel is lacking in Pakistan cricket? What can Pakistan cricket do in any way to be better than what it is right now?
I think it's taking the right steps. Structurally, Imran Khan's changed the first-class system, so now there's only 6 teams instead of 18, and they're not privately owned like they were. And Mohammed Wasim being appointed head selector is the best thing ever. You've seen his press conferences where he says, Imam Al-Haq, you're dropped because of these reasons. Shan, you're dropped because of these reasons. Hassan Ali, you're chosen because of these reasons. It's more transparent than any other board in the world right now. From the least transparent. It's gone from Parchi to non-Parchi overnight. And it's fantastic because players now know what they're dealing with, and the public now understand the reason behind the decision. So you get less of, one of the problems in Pakistani cricket was the public not believing in all the players in their team because they weren't behind every single player. Now it's hard to not back a player because you know why they're there. So that's all been positive. The Misbah as coach is a negative, and the whole process of him being appointed coach was horrible. Wasim Akram being anywhere around the PCB is a bad thing. Not only has he passed his use by date, but he should never have been there just from a morals and ethics standpoint. Pakistan, the PCB can't be, and Wasim Khan, the managing director, is having a tough time. The problem with the PCB is it's a lot of old school, culture. It protects itself. So if you've been an ex-player, there's this expectation and entitlement that's very hard culturally to break. I've even seen it at the lower levels, just even the media types and whatnot. I've been in the PCB for 4 years. I'm more important than you because you're just a guy from Australia with a journalistic pass. And there's a lot of levels, and culturally it's hard to break. Whereas if it wants to be truly strong, it needs to become more of a meritocracy and reward people for delivering, not because of who they are, what they were in the past, or who they know.
Brilliant. Well, Dennis, thank you so much for taking the time out for us. Very, very amazing everything that you've had to say. You, as always, you keep it straight. I'm always amazed at how you deal with the trolls, and obviously it's just brilliant watching you. And then, of course, I know you have a huge fan following in Pakistan and amongst Pakistanis around the world. So thank you so much for what you do for women's cricket. For me, it's more important the great things you've done, raising money for wonderful initiatives like that, trying to make a difference in the right way. Like you said, cricket's just a vehicle. It's not the important thing. The important thing is changing the mindsets. And like you said, it's changed in 2 or 3 years already. So hopefully it can keep going on like that. And thank you for supporting Pakistan cricket. Thank you for being an amazing ambassador for the PSL. Every time there's a PSL game or Pakistan wins or India loses, I know people go on Twitter to see what's Dennis saying, or they go on your Facebook. I'm one of those people who follows you on all of those things. It's always fun, but I also believe, I think, as someone who follows you, that it's fun, but it's also what you say is very important. I think sometimes maybe that gets lost a little bit, like the things you pointed out right now, the things you feel should change. I think all of those things, maybe in a lighthearted way, but you're saying the right thing at the end of the day. Maybe some of us need to look past the way you're saying it and look at what you're saying, and we know that makes sense. And we wish you and your family,
But then it wouldn't be fun.
No, it wouldn't be. No, the fun is when you say the tea is fantastic. That's where all the fun is. And we wish you and your family. Yeah.
Just on that, February 27 is coming up, and go to my social media channels. I released a video today preparing everybody for the world's biggest tea party on February 27, and I want everybody to be involved. So go to my Twitter, my Facebook, my YouTube. Have a look at that little video. It's only 30 seconds, and see how you can get involved this year in the world's biggest tea party. Last year we had 10 million people use the hashtag on the 27th of February, and with photos and videos of them drinking tea. I want to break that record this year.
So we got to go for it, guys. We got to go out there. We got to do it for Dennis after everything Dennis does for us. Dennis, thank you so much. All the very best to you and your family. You guys stay safe, and I really hope we see you when things are better at the next PSL in Pakistan.
Me too. Inshallah.
Thank you. Inshallah. Thank you so much, Dennis. Take care.
Bye-bye.